Hi, I'm Olivia, the Southern Yankee Stitcher. This is my Flosstube number 39, and today I'm going to be showing you a lot of framing and that I've done. I have a finish, um, my whips, and a few acquisitions for haul. Um, it is June, what is it, June 3rd, and Saturday, June 3rd. Yesterday, I work at a school. Yesterday was the last day for teachers. Thursday was the last day for students. I still have a couple weeks to work at the office there, but um, it's going to be quiet, and I'll probably run out of things to do, honestly. So I'll probably take some stitching with me since I have to be there. I have some things coming up that I thought I better go ahead and get this video made. And last weekend, over the holiday weekend, I just stayed at home. It's a quiet weekend. Saw my grandkids and spent time with my children and my grandchildren. And I did a lot of framing and sewing. And I made a bunch of project bags. I'm going to share those with you today, too. Pardon me, I still have this little cough that just won't go away. My youngest daughter had this first, and hers only lasted like 3 days. And I started feeling better after 3 days, but it's just lingering. My oldest daughter has it. She still is losing her voice. Pardon me. Please don't think I'm rude drinking in the middle of the video, but I just have to do that so I don't start coughing. So I have those things to share with you that I worked on, kind of finished up last weekend. I did a lot of prep work before the long weekend as far as cutting out fabric and everything for the project bags. Starting tomorrow evening, we have Bible school at my church, and I've done the crafts for years there. So I'm going to be doing crafts again this year. It's kind of like a castle theme, armor god. So I have some things planned, and you never know how many kids are going to come. I hope I don't have enough. You want a lot of kids to come, but I didn't want to overbuy, so I'm kind of like, I'll fill it out the first night, and then I might have to run and scramble and get a few more things. But looking forward to that. I always enjoy that with the kids, especially the younger ones. I used to teach kindergarten age at church, and I loved it. Those kids are so sweet, and everything's fun to them. They don't think they're too old to have fun. I love that age. But I'll be teaching all ages. We're doing 3 through 12, ages 3 through 12. So, and then after that, next weekend, there's a retreat at Pandas Crossing. That's my LNS. And the way Donna does her retreats is you pay a flat fee, and then I've been to really just one of her retreats, but I've talked to people about others. And then she'll give you, like, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 projects. And she'll give you the pattern, the floss, the fabric, anything you need to finish it, as far as, a box or fabric or whatever that you need to finish it. And it's an outdoors theme. I want to say the Great Outdoors, but I'm not sure exactly what it's called without looking. So, and then she'll provide lunch for you, but she kind of asks everybody to bring a little something so we can just add to it. And lunch there's always enough leftovers for dinner too. And it's Saturday, all day Saturday and Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Then the weekend after that is StitchCon Weekend B, which I will be at. And I'm getting really excited about that. I really didn't start getting excited about it until the last few weeks because it just seems so far in the distance. But my daughters are both coming with me, and they're 23 and 31 years old. They both live here with me, and they're going to come and do their own thing. I said, don't worry about me. You do your thing. So they've made plans to, one of my daughters wants to see all the underground breweries and restaurants and that kind of thing. And then both of them are excited about going to the zoo in Cincinnati. And I don't know, they've been making plans, and they said, "You sure you don't want to go to the zoo?" I said, "No, I'm going there to go to StitchCon. That's what I'm going for." But really, in my mind, to justify spending all the money on the hotel room and everything, I wanted them to be able to do like a little vacation as well. And they were both able to get off work, which is kind of miraculous. So I've got a lot coming up, and I don't know that I will get a video made before StitchCon. That's just a couple weeks away. I'm doing the small exchange at StitchCon, and I'm going to make a short video probably about what I'm taking, but I don't want to put that out there because I want whoever gets it to be surprised. So, anyway, I'm not showing anybody what I made until they open it, but I will make a video ahead of time so I can show you all later. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with framing so I can kind of get these things out of the way here. Not all of it is cross stitch framing, but it's all framing I've been wanting to do, and I just thought I wanted to maybe mention some of these things to you. I had shown you this piece before. I had it hanging up on this wall over here over my sewing machine, and I just had it stuck in a frame. I didn't have it laced or glued or anything. In fact, it was just kind of flapping in the wind back behind it because I wasn't crazy about the frame. It seemed to fit, but I just wasn't crazy about it. And then the black frame I found was going to work for another piece, so I was like, I'm going to take it out of that frame. I didn't like it anyway. And it's this piece here, and I put it in this hoop. This is one of these hoops where the inside's hard plastic and the outside's kind of a rubber, so you can make the oval go like horizontal or vertical. And this is an old pattern. I want to say it's Sue Hillis. And the pattern I had, she's released something similar to this where she uses the same sewing machine. But the pattern I had showed it on a sweatshirt. So it was old. But I like it much better in this. And it's going to go, I'm a sucker for gallery walls where I put a lot of little things together because I like a lot of little things like that. I could have think about Kim, the contented needle worker. Her room were just wall-to-wall pictures. I could live in the whole house that way. I know some people it would be too much and overwhelming and cluttered, but I could do that very easily. So I put it in this, and I like it. And I just I didn't even show you the back. I just kind of sloppily stitched it together just to hold it in place so it wouldn't stick out the sides. And that's all I'm going to do. There's no need for me to try and finish the back of that. Not going to see it. I might decide later I don't want this anymore, and it'll be easy to take out and iron and go with another plan. I'm trying to stick things over there as I get to them. The next one is I was going to take the frame that sewing machine was in for Button Up by Prairie Schooler, but I thought it was going to work perfect, but it didn't. But I did have a frame that did work perfect, and it was this one. And this is a thrift store frame. I almost left the price tag on there so you could see I got it for 50 cents. And I think it looks really good in there. It doesn't have glass, but I don't need glass on my stitching. Probably most samplers that I'm going to do for the sampler wall, I will, because I'll kind of feel like they're heirloom pieces maybe. But seasonal is not out long enough for me to really need glass. Then I just used a piece of scrapbook paper on the back. So that if I put it, and I might even put some ribbon or something around here, I don't know. So if I have it in the easel somewhere where you see the back, seasonal, you don't know how you're going to hang them, then it looks good. Okay. The next one, and this is on my cover photo, is a piece that was given to me a couple years ago by a lady in my DAR chapter, and her name is Betty Lou, and she's in her 80s, and she does incredible embroidery and crochet, all kinds of things. But she most notably has done crochet pieces that she's kind of designed herself. DAR normally has a theme every year for their Heritage Arts contest, and I'm not sure that the last year or two she's entered, but the years that she entered before that, she's won nationally. Like, she's placed nationally, second, third. She may have even gotten first. I don't remember exactly. And I wrote an article and submitted it to our newspaper, and they did a full-page article on her and all of her, accomplishments with the stitching and the crochet. And as a thank you gift, she crocheted a piece with my last name in it. And I've had it for a couple of years now because I was looking for a thrift store frame, because it was going to cost a lot of money to frame it otherwise. And I finally found the frame a few months back. And I went and had a board cut for it. And I mounted the crochet piece on a piece of felt, black felt, and then framed it in this. And I just love it. I wasn't sure that the gold would look good in my living room, but my daughter held it up where I wanted to hang it, and it looks pretty good. So that's where it's going to go in my living room. And what I did, see so much reflection, my dirty desk. What I did is I got some thread that was the same color as the crochet, and I sewed every point. I probably was overkill doing every point, but I did. I sewed every point down to the felt. Then I glued the felt to the backer board, which right here, I got this at Hobby Lobby. And this frame had it was like a watercolor with some florals in it. It was all pinks and blues, very, very 80s looking. And but it had the mat in there, so I took the mat out, took it to Hobby Lobby, bought my piece. They charged me, they charge $1 a cut, I believe it is, to cut the board for you. And hey, if you've ever tried to cut this board, it's kind of hard to cut. So, especially in a straight line, will forever pay that $1 a cut to have it cut and cut right. So I had the black piece of board cut, and that's that. I have not put paper on the back yet. I still have to put brown paper on the back. Okay. This next one is not something I stitched either, but I did show it to you in a prior video, last video or two, where I had bought a piece. It was a sampler. I think it was stamped cross stitch sampler, and it was a last minute decision on eBay. Like, I saw it, and there was 2 minutes left when I saw it, and I was like, I think I like it. I think I like it. Bye. And then as soon as I bought it, I regretted it because I thought you don't even know what you bought. You just bought it. And then when I got it, I loved it. So my buyer's remorse didn't last very long. Well, I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this a message board. And the piece, the stamp cross stitch piece, fit in here pretty good. It's square. I couldn't find a frame that would really fit it, and I really wanted to get it done. So I found this, and it was going to be pretty good. I would have to figure out a border background. So the this is a piece. Let's sit here while I'm talking about it. This piece, I wouldn't call it antique, but it's certainly vintage. And let's see, I think the rule for antiques is 75 years older or more. So I mean, it's possible it's antique, but I'm just calling it vintage. But where it was framed before, it's darker on the front than what was wrapped behind, where it was wrapped around the board before. Not sure if it's just regular aging or if it's tobacco or nicotine aging. But that line was pretty prominent, so I needed to fold it on the same line. It didn't smell like cigarettes or anything, so that's what makes me think it's not nicotine, because that smells pretty hard to get rid of if it stains something like this, but I don't know. So I wrapped it around foam core. I just used regular old foam core. I had a science board I've been cutting up and using, and put some polyester batting on it and wrapped it around, and I pinned it. I pinned the piece. Gosh, y'all. I haven't been coughing all morning until I start talking. So I pinned it to the board, and I pinned it because, and I use foam core because I don't think of this as like an heirloom piece necessarily. It's more decorative for me. But I pinned it so that I could frame it under glass later if I wanted to. So where was I? Sorry. So I pinned it. I didn't lace it, I pinned it. And then I made cording here because you can see the pins, the way this was made. I have another piece of foam core underneath that's covered in homespun. Goodness, words are hard this morning. The cording was made from goodness. I might have to pause this video for a second. The cording's made from some floss that my daughter gave to me for Christmas. It's from Hobby Lobby, the Artiste floss, and it was a pack. Actually, I have it right here. The label's gone, but it's a pack of floss that was all these pretty fall colors. And you got like 3 skeins each of each color. I think it's 3 in there. And the colors worked really well with this. I had a pretty big margin at the bottom, and I was just going to take this cording and make a bow at the bottom. I showed it to my daughter, and she's like, I don't like the bow. I said, well, let me see what I can find, if I can find a little sign maybe from Hobby Lobby. Well, I decided not to go with that. But what I did do is I tried to find some, I think it's even weave, that was closest to this color. And this was some that I had coffee and tea stained. I looked at the letters here and did the same, used the same font, and looked at the hearts up there in the corner and put some hearts there and put family. And the reason I did that is because when I showed this piece to my daughter, my oldest daughter, she said, oh, it reminds me of Nanny and Granddaddy. Well, my husband's grandparents, we were super close to them, They, my husband was their first grandchild and really the apple of their eye. He was burned very badly when he was 2 years old, and when he was in the hospital and they were doing some painful treatments that they had to do, to burns, he wasn't crying for his mother. He cried for his nanny. And his nanny went in there and held his hands, and he just lay there quietly as long as she was holding his hands while they did what they had to do. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible. But I think that there was a bond there that it was an incredible bond. And Nanny, I don't think she ever wore pants in her whole life. And so it does kind of remind you of her. Granddaddy, he worked in the cotton mill, but he also preached. So if he wasn't at church preaching, when he went to church, he was in a suit and tie. But if he wasn't there, he was in overalls. And although this man doesn't have overalls on, it just, I don't know, the folksy kind of cross stitch it is reminded her of them, and they were so sweet, so sweet. Nanny would cook and bake every week, and she'd make pies and cakes and rolls. She made these yeast rolls, and she would make the yeast rolls so that she didn't bake them all the way, so you got them, they were brown and served. She would bag them up just like they came from the bakery, and she would barter with the rolls to get her hair done. And anybody that came in, if you came in to visit, and she always had visitors, probably every day she had visitors, family and not family, extended family. You walked out of there with a pie or a cake. I mean, she made probably 8 pies and 2 cakes a week plus rolls. But I couldn't have loved them more or been closer to them if they were my blood kin. I mean, I love them. We would have Sunday dinner with them every week. When Nanny got to where she couldn't cook, my husband's uncles and his wife would make a meal and take it there, and we'd eat there together, and then we'd alternate weeks, so that we could still have Sunday dinner at Nanny's. Every Saturday she made hot dogs and hamburgers. She had them on the stove. They ate at a certain time. You came in, you had a hot dog and hamburger. She always had plenty. But anyway, so this just reminded her of them, and after she said that, it kind of did me too, even if they didn't have any dogs. Nanny was not one for pets. But so I just put this family on here, and this is also on foam core. I use the same cording. I use the Krynic quarter tool. Vonna Pfeiffer has a video. I don't make it often enough to remember exactly how to make it, so I have to watch her video each time. This time I noticed she had a new video with a technique that was a little bit easier, I think. But anyway, this is homespun, and this is actually just stuck in there. I haven't even glued this down because it was a tight fit. As I'm recording, I saw in this corner you could see it, but I didn't even notice that before. It's just the light's picking up there. But if it falls out, I'll put a little bit of hot glue in there and glue it to that metal. But I like this finish. I like it a lot. It's going to go on the wall behind me. I was hoping to have that wall done before this video, but I thought I'd go ahead and get the video done first. Alright, this last thing is not anything stitched, but I just thought I'd show you all because, well, I'll tell you. Where do I start? Both in my family and my husband's family had some of those panoramic photos. They're real long. There was one of his granddaddy, the ones that I was just talking about, where he was in the CC camp, and it was like Civil Corps or whatever. They went around and they did the national parks around the country, and it was all handwork, labor, or whatever. And it was their group, their unit, or whatever. He didn't qualify for the military because he was diabetic, so he did qualify for CC campus, Civil Corps. I feel like that's not quite right, and you all are probably screaming at me if you know what it is. But we had a picture of him there when he was a young man before he married. Then we had a picture of the mill, the whole mill shift, all the workers had a picture in front of the mill. And his grandmother, Nanny, was in there, the people that cross stitch reminded me of. Oh, let me back up and say something real quick before I forget. When I was pinning this, I was noticing the stitches, and this is stitch 2 over 2 over 4, and it's pretty precise. So I don't know if this is really stamped. Now the letters weren't quite as precise, I noticed, but this border really was. So anyway, I'm not sure that's a stamp piece. It might just be a stitch piece. Back to the panoramic photos. So, my husband had those. His grandmother gave those photos to him because she knew that I was kind of the keeper of family things in my family, and I would keep them safe. So, for my husband's birthday, I think it was, maybe it was for Father's Day, I don't know. But anyway, I had those framed for him on 2 different occasions. And it was pretty pricey to get a big panoramic photo framed. And well, then when I was going through some of my mother's things, I found a panoramic photo. And I had seen it before, but I forgot about it. And it also was rolled up. And if after these are rolled so much, they're going to get little creases where they're almost going to break in two because they're old. And so I decided I was going to frame her piece too to preserve it. It's my way of preserving the photos. Well, I found this frame for $14 in the clearance section at Hobby Lobby. I had a mat cut, and the mat was about $40. And then I had the picture done. And this is my mother's graduating class. I have in my back hall, I have, you call it the Hall of Fame. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's black and white pictures of family, and I'm going floor to ceiling with it. So this will go back there. She graduated from Frederick High School in Frederick, Maryland in 1950. This building was just torn down a couple years ago. I went to school here and graduated from here too, and I have a picture in front of here that this window here is bigger. They had expanded it by the time I went to school and graduated 36 years later. And then I told my mom the other day, I told you how she, with dementia, she could remember things from a long time ago. My mother used to do a lot of framing. She said this was a valedictorian. She couldn't remember his name, held a pennant, and that's her right there, right behind him. So I thought that was cool. And I'm just showing you all this, not because I think you care about seeing my family photos, but because I want to encourage you to pull out those old photos and, frame them, put them on the wall somewhere. In my childhood home, one thing my mom did that was kind of unusual, I'll say, is our downstairs bathroom, which is the bathroom anybody used that visited. She put family photos all over the walls in there. And my husband said one time when we were first married, he said, I'm going in there to the bathroom and I see those pictures of you when you were a little girl and I feel kind of guilty. But get the photos out of the box, put them out for people to see, do something to preserve them. That's just my words of encouragement for that. Let's see. Well, I guess the next thing I'm going to show you is my cross stitch finish. We're here about cross stitch, right? I have a finish. I'm pretty excited about it. This chart was called Traditional Sampler by Ginnie Thompson. It's a Pawleys Island original, and it's a kit from 1975 I found on eBay. If y'all remember, my mother-in-law's name, my name was Thompson. Those same grandparents I was talking about, they were her parents. Her first name was Lavinia, so I'm substituting the word Virginia for Lavinia and doing this as a memorial to her. And I have a finish. You'll see I changed it up a little bit. You see, this is just a family of 4 with 2 trees and a bluebird. Well, as I was doing all this, I thought, if Lavinia really stitched this, she was one of 4 children. So I think they should all be on there. So I just kind of scaled down these 2 kids, did these 2. This would be Lavinia right here, with a little flower. She was a blonde when she was little. Everybody else, her siblings were redhead. Her daddy was a redhead. They called him Speck. He had so many freckles, it was like one big freckle, and they called him Speck. So I left out the tree. I was going to try and put the bluebird in, but if I put the bluebird over here, it looked like it was going to attack the kids. And over here, it just looked too cluttered. So I decided to leave it off. I did add in the initials. James Thompson is her daddy. Lavinia Thompson. She's actually Lila Lavinia Thompson. John Thompson. Flossie is her mother, Flossie Thompson. William, he actually went by his middle name Charlton. He's William Charlton, and he actually called him Red. And then this is Kathleen, but she was actually Cora Kathleen. That's her given name. So I did their given initials. I had to use, I didn't have a whole lot of room there at the bottom because this was an afterthought to add the initials. I felt like there was just some extra space there I wanted to fill in with. And anyway, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. Pretty pleased. I love those strawberries. I was unsure about these little things. I don't know what you want to call those little things in the border. Using that color that was so light and almost ghosted, but I liked it. You know, I did a couple and just left it. It was the last thing I did because I thought I might want to pull in a green or something. I liked it so much that I put my initials and date in the same color because it kind of just blends in unless you're looking for it. So I went to Hobby Lobby looking for a picture frame for this. And, well, first I went to the thrift store, one thrift store, and didn't see any there. I did get one frame I'll show you, but not for this. So then I went to Hobby Lobby, and they had a bunch of clearance stuff. In fact, they have clearance things through, like they're kind of redoing our store where they're moving things around. They're kind of reworking the setup of the store. And so they have a bunch of things on clearance, but they're in clearance where they're originally sold, not like just in the clearance section. So I found this frame. This piece will actually fit in it, but I don't want to put it in the red. It actually doesn't look bad in the red, but it's going to be on the sampler wall, and I don't want red on there. But I have another piece to be stitched. That's Christmas. I think will look good in this. And can you see the price? $7.49. I mean, it was a $30 frame. Nothing wrong with this. Still in the shrink wrap, protected, no scratches. I got 2 of them because it was cheap, and even if I don't like the red, I could paint it, but I really like the red. There's another frame I saw at Hobby Lobby, and I was going to go and maybe just buy some if they were like they're 40% off or whatever. And it was in like the baby section, the baby girl section. I saw it before and I was like, I love it. I don't know what I could put in that, but I'm sure I have something I could stitch and put in there. So I went by to look at those and thought maybe I should grab one before they're gone. They were on clearance for $8.74. Look Look at this frame, y'all. It looks so old. And the back is 13.75 inches by 13.75 inches. So I don't know if I'll be able to find a piece of glass to put in there without getting it custom made. But I could definitely put something in there that's without glass. It's got just a little pry things here to take that out. Be very easy. And I got two of those too. Because I have some birds. I have some bird patterns is what I thought of when I saw those. And I thought, I probably would want to hang two of them together. If I don't get these now, I won't be able to get them. And not a lot of money. Not a lot of money at all. So I got those. Let's see. I'm really all over the place this morning. I didn't necessarily plan to do this today. I got up and started cleaning and doing some cooking. We're going to cook out today, and I better make a video. Get my video done. Sorry, back to this. I had this book sitting here. Am I still recording? My screen's went blank. Yeah, I'm still recording. The font at the bottom, very simple. Very simple. The initials there at the bottom. I just want to show you, I have this book that I have used for so many different things. It has, all kinds of patterns and all occasions. And it has one section that's nothing but fonts. So, if you could get a book that has some fonts in it, I use this one right here. And it's like a little train. But I just didn't use the train because I had limited space. And it was so much easier. I could have made up my own letters, but it's so much easier to look at that. So, yeah, those with the little train there is what I used. I have that book there to show you all that. All right, project bags. I have been wanting to do some project bags using some vintage stitching that I had. And I finally got it done. I'm going to show you what I did. It's been quite a few years now. Probably about 15 years ago now. I went to an auction at a house right near my church. And it was an estate. And it was actually a lady who was a member of our church, but I had never met her because she was a shut-in the whole time I'd gone there. And not like other auctions. This has happened to me more than once if I've gone to an auction. The thing that I want is like the last thing they sell. And sometimes they're even like, oh, we're not even going to sell that stuff. And I'll have to say, are you going to sell that? I've been waiting here all day for that. Well, this auction, they had a bunch of vintage galvanized buckets and watering cans. And I wanted those. And then I saw some embroidery in a box. And I kind of wanted that. One of those. So I waited, and I had to ask them to sell the buckets, which I got. And they've decorated my porch for years. I love them. But then the embroidery was in a huge box. Y'all, it was probably 2 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot tall, stuffed full of linens. A lot of them were new and like vintage, new and packaged linens, sheets and things from 50s, 60s, And there were a lot of pillowcases that were embroidered in there. And So I just got all this. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them, but I wanted them all the same because of I just love the embroidery. Well, the sheets kind of I didn't buy it. I can't remember what I paid, a couple dollars, I think. I didn't buy it to have the sheets. They were just in the same box. But all the fitted ones, that had elastic in them, the elastic was shot. They were brand new in the package, hadn't been opened, but the elastic was shot because they were, 50 years old or more. And the top sheets, didn't have the bottom one to match. So I ended up using those like for drop cloths when I painted and stuff, is what they ended up being. Or maybe like a couple of them I used if we had set up an air mattress or something. But the embroidery, I had a couple of plans with what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to sew them all together and make like a curtain topper for maybe in my laundry room, maybe here in my craft room. Then I thought, not sure about that. Maybe I want to make a little quilt and use them in the quilt. Yeah, didn't really, I'm not really a quilter. I've made one quilt. So, but I did take them all and launder them. And what did I use? I used OxyClean, the powder, and I soaked them in that. And some of them were yellowed, and you wouldn't believe how white they came. Because they'd just been in storage forever. I mean, like they were pressed and put away super neat. This little old lady, I'm sure, made them all. And they were their linens, but some of the pillowcases you could tell had never laid on them. And some of them one had, because they, you could just tell that they yellow a little bit where, oils and stuff have touched them over the years. They may have gone away pure white, but the weather will bring that out in them. I found that out with some baby clothes I had saved, like some of my favorite little dresses that were my daughters, and I saved them. They didn't have any stains on them, but after being like in the shed in the hot temperatures and all, little stains came out that I couldn't see. So anyway, I had these embroidered pillowcases for quite a while. Like I said, probably about 15 years. And I decided a while back, maybe even about a year ago, that I'm going to use them on project bags. So that's what I did. And I made these. They are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they are good enough for me. So this fabric, I got this fabric at Hobby Lobby, and I just thought it matched this. It was just so like happy little girl, the little daisies. And inside, I just did this blue, just to keep it light and happy and like summer. And I just love that it's got that vintage touch on there, I'm a sucker for anything old, This is another one that I did. And this was also a pillowcase. I've made another bag with this same fabric and inside. And this was just, I had enough to do more than one bag. I thought that looked pretty good there. She was very talented when it came to embroidery. Oh, here's the other one. And then there's this one. I only had one of these. I wish I had more because I love it. It's getting a little bit washed out. There, that's better. I love those fall colors. And you can see my line's not exactly, it was probably straight when I did the project bag. Well, anyway, it got off. But like I said, it's just for me, so it's fine. That's the inside of that one. I'm going to go through some charts today to make some plans. I can't wait to find a fall chart just to put in there. There's the only ones I use with stitching. I do have, oh gosh, probably 8 more embroidered pieces to frame up, to sew up, but I didn't have just the perfect fabric for them, and I wanted to try and just not settle, have the right thing, and I'm probably gonna just have to take it with me to the store and to pick out the right thing. But so the rest of these project bags are just the envelope style. The first time I ever saw this envelope style bag was Garon toten bags, and because I used to watch Sunshine Citrus all the time. Now they've got their own Garon channel. But I used the Vanna Pfeiffer tutorial on how to do these. This is just plain inside. It's got some verses on it. I bought that fabric and I used it on the back of George Decorates for Martha, I think. This is fabric that just came from Walmart. They've got their like 1 yard cuts. I love chickens. This is more Walmart. Look at the cherries. Aren't they fun? It's just fun. I love that. That's happy. That's very happy. A few of these were 1 yard pieces I got from Walmart. This I think was a remnant I bought. When I go to Hobby Lobby, I go check out their fabric remnant section because sometimes they'll just have like a half. I got one. Well, I actually got one the other day. Here. Homespun cotton, 45 inches, 3/4 of a yard for $2.70. When they have just a little bit left on the bolt, they'll wrap them up like that. And I just use it for finishing. So I'm a homespun lover. I just love homespun. So I couldn't pass that one up. This was a remnant from Hobby Lobby too, I believe. Little scissors. That I had from doing a prior project bag. And these flowers here. Inside. So I do have a project bag that I'm not going to show you because I'm doing an exchange at StitchCon with Tracy. If you go back and watch OG Stitchery, OHGEE Stitchery, that's Tracy, and she's hoping to do a project bag exchange. She'll do it with you by mail, or if you're going to StitchCon Weekend B, she'll do it there. She started making project bags. She's got some really pretty bags, and she just wants you to make one. She'll make one, and 2 of you swap. I tried to make it more complicated. I hadn't watched her video when she asked me if I wanted to do a project bag exchange. So I have made one for her. So I'm not going to show it because that's going to be a surprise. But it's made with some of my favorite fabric favorites. But like I said, if you want to do a project bag exchange, if you make project bags, go look at Tracy's channel. All right. Well, I hadn't shown you my whip. I'm really trying not to be a monogamous stitcher. It's really hard. It's hard for me. And several of you said, if you want to be a monogamous stitcher, be a monogamous stitcher. It's okay. And I know it's okay, but I also want to start things. So, I don't know. But I pulled out a whip. This is a whip that I started at StitchCon last year. It's 2022, and I worked a little bit after StitchCon, and then I just didn't work on it anymore. And I really love it. I don't know why I haven't been working on it. It is a Quaker Welcome by Lila Studio. I chose a totally different color fabric than this. And this is it. When I picked this up the other day, I hadn't stitched on it in months and months. I like the basket was done, and some of these little leaves or whatever at the bottom of the pineapple were done. So I finished the pineapple, did the whole pineapple, and I did, how many letters did I do? Well, I did some of these letters. I think maybe C-L-E-W first, and I did this Quaker right here. I'm starting to do the grass that goes in another house. There. I like the way this black looks on this blue. This fabric is, I do have it in here. No, I got it from someone out of the country, and that's the tag. Oh, you can't see it. It's a Zweigart Belfast 32 count. Color 513G. That means nothing. It's a blue. It's like a baby blue. Anyway, I like that. I do like stitching on this. I am ready to start something new, though. Like I said, I'm going to go through my charts today as far as plans. That's the only thing I have left to tell you, I think. I'm going to go through some charts today. I have some that just need to be put away. You know, keep them in a file cabinet. Well, they're supposed to be kept in a file cabinet by season and type, and I have different categories in there. They're not all in there. And I want to decide. I want to start something at StitchCon. And I really don't know what I want to start. So I need to go through and look at everything and make sure it's fully kitted. I want to make a list of everything I need as far as any flosses or fabrics I might need. So when I go to StitchCon, I have more options. I'll be able to buy some. I'll probably get any floss that I need at my LNS because I try and support them because I want them to stick around. And then, of course, I'm planning to spend some time at Keepsakes. I mean, I really just kind of want to go and spend hours if I want to. I don't know if you all were there last year, but it was so hot. It was a huge heat wave, and they don't have air conditioning in the store. And, you know, I'm sure normally it's not a problem. I grew up without air conditioning, but it was bad. So I didn't really get to spend as much time in the store as I could have or would have, you know, wanted to, because it was crowded and it was hot. But there's so much to look at there at Keepsakes. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm sure I could go through that store, make a couple of visits, and wouldn't see everything. But I do want to try and get a list together of what I want, you know, things I'm looking for. Okay, last video I had a giveaway. This DMC book. And this is the book with all the DMC colors in it. I bought this and made color copies of it and used it to do my envelopes for my DMC storage because I couldn't get the other book with the actual floss in it, and then I ended up being able to get that. But this is a pretty cool book right here. while I had that, I did use it several times, and it's very helpful to me, especially with depending on how you keep your floss. I had mine before in plastic bags, and now they're in little envelopes in my drawers, my card catalog drawers. But even in the plastic bags, it wasn't real easy to see the colors. This makes it so much easier. And the winner of this book is Gina Cates, Cates. Gina, thank you for your comments, and congratulations on winning this. I will get this in the mail to you this week. I just need for you to send me your address. So if you will go to my email, southernyankeestitcher@gmail.com, and give me your address, I will get this out to you. I want to thank everybody who commented, and encourage you to go ahead and comment again this week. And tell me what your summer plans are. Are you planning a vacation or staycation? Let me know what you're doing, and like and subscribe. I will be back probably after StitchCon with a recap of StitchCon, and I'm sure I'll have some. Oh, I forgot to show you some purchases. You might not even care about this, but this little box has a golf scene on the top, which I'm going to cover with stitching. I kind of wanted to say it was like for cards, but it's too big for cards. It's cork inside. Maybe it's just stationery, but I'm going to cover that. I love the blue. I'm going to cover that with some stitching on the top. I think I got that for $1. This I got for $1, and I have to clarify this a little bit. This frame, it has this it's like a scrapbook look inside with the keys and everything on there, and it's pretty, but I won't use that. But if you can see, it's one of them's kind of falling down here. It has spacers. There's a space between the glass and the board you have in here. That's perfect for stitching. And it's square, which a lot of stitching is square. And it's $1. So I got that. That's it. Y'all have a great couple of weeks, and I'll see you after StitchCon. Bye.